Shiur hakois revius. A shiur of a kois is what we call a revius. B'shir revius. What's exactly a revius? Hu beitze umechze beininis. That's a 1.5 medium type of egg. Like we see in Shomer of Chizda, the Gemara in Psakim says, "Revius machsekes etzbayim el etzbayim beroim etzbayim v'chetzi v'choymish etzba." Like you have also, let's say, for example, for a mikvah, we say amma al amma beroim gimel amos to have a proper size of a mikvah, and that's the square type of measurement. In the same vein, the Gemara describes, Chazal describe what it means to have a revius. It's 2 fingers by 2 fingers, the height of 2 fingers and a half plus a fifth of an etzba. V'das hatzlach void achronim shebeitzim shalom niskatnu ad lemechza. Now, the tzlach holds that our eggs are smaller than it was at one time, and it went down 50%. You have to use that measurement because that doesn't change the size. Or you take the beitzim that we have, says if it's down 50%, you got to go and do 3 beitzim. We'll see shortly. We can maybe, when it comes to a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, which we'll see, there's din d'Oraisis and din d'Rabbanan. There's the kiddush of Shabbos, Friday night, which is d'Orais, and then you have others that are d'Rabbanan. It all depends on whether you can be mekel. However, with mitzvahs d'Orais, like he says, yesh lahachma. Okay, so let's go from the outset over here to try to explain this piece of the puzzle. In Shulchan Aruch, Simin Tofayim Beis, if Tes, it says, Shiur hakois revius. What is a shiur of a kois? A revius la'achas shim zigenu. After it's diluted. And we went through this last time, what it means to dilute, how much water, and how much you can dilute it. If you have, let's say, for abrakosis, if you want to go ahead and dilute it with grape juice, but right now we're not going into that tonight. We're going into the size of liquid that you need to have. It's the amount of water, that displacement water, that is for a beitz and a half when you have a medium type of egg. That's one way. Like we mentioned, Chazal give us 2 ways of measuring what a revius is. Since there's 2 ways, they probably, even though they're a different way of measuring it, they're probably equal. What do we mean by this? It's both the same. However, he made this experiment and he decided to do both ways. It came out to 50%. You have to either say that it's one of 2 ways. Either we have, let's say, thicker fingers than theirs, because at the end of the day we know we're getting schwacher, even though those are nice and tam l'shvach, but at the end of the day we're getting weaker, not that we're getting stronger and more hefty. I don't know, we'll get talk to you about obesity, veisich nish. They went down halfway. If, let's say, you want to go ahead and do the displacement with an egg and a half, you take 1.5 eggs to figure out what the displacement is of a revius. That's how you'll do it with eggs. You'd have to double it up. Take 3. Revius hu gimel beitzim. And the revius will be 3 beitzim. Akan dvar. That's the words of the tzlach verbatim. V'yeshikosfu da'arois hatzlach neskabel b'chol Yisrael. Some say. That's why you have also, we're not talking about it tonight, but the share of matzah also, when it comes to certain derises, we go ahead and we do a double share because we want to be yotzah. And we go according to this famous tzlach. Ach ba'aruch hashulchan kosov shirak hamedaktikim machmir b'zeh. He comes down and says this is only someone who is very careful about it. The Be'er Halacha also brings down that people are not machmal like the tzach. The Kain kosov Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach v'ha Goyin Reb Chaim Noah Zatzal Herich Lechiach Sha'ara Hamukubeles B'Kol Yisrael Hayu Shaloi K'Divrei Tzlach. He held as well. You can be more lenient, not like the tzlach. I'm a sefer Shiur Torah, Shiur Tzion. Okay. So you have a whole bunch of different opinions over here. Do we go with the tzlach l'chumra or do we not go with the tzlach l'chumra? Ube'emes shekam achroinim pikbuku al tzlach. There are many achroinim who question the tzlach v'chol kol and they disagree with him. Domestimis hashulchan aruch v'amogen avram v'chol anois kelim avuya shemodadu bebeitzim b'lilikful ashur. We don't find this concept that we have to double everything up. Ubeshirei Torah from the Chaim Noah, Herech lechiach the das Rambam, v'chal go'oinim hu deloi katzlach. It's not like the tzlach. V'ydaim baruch hashulchin sherech list the divrei tzlach. The Gemara amrin in the Beis Habliya machzil keboi beitza. It says that the esophagus, when you go ahead and you swallow, holds the amount you can swallow at one time as a beitzah. It's going to come out that it's a double-edged sword over here. Because we're saying that people didn't get any smaller. It's going to come out that it's going to be machzik 2 eggs. So how do you... that we don't find that you can swallow 2 eggs at a time. So anyway, it's a very nice thing. But that you're going to go ahead and say someone's not yotzah, that we cannot do. Va'oidain shal shuva me'ahava shekosov l'nistaiti Morev Rebbe agoin nishmosei edim modad be'agoidel shaloi v'hu ha'ya'aruch b'doirei mishichmoi u'ma'ala gavoyim al kol gavoyim v'agoidel ha'yakofel mishal odem beinani k'noidel chol mi sha'yizoich l'akiroi u'kudvarm eila matil. Okay, so anyway, he says that he went ahead and showed it to Shuvah Mahavat to his Morev Rebbe, and it was you don't find it being that much different. Alamati l'Morev Rebbe nishmasi eidin v'himaneh b'roishay v'sochak, and he scoffed at it that it's going to change the shurim to such a great extent that it's going to be double what we think a beitz and a half is. U'kinira sheheven atzraslach yiskim loy v'chein heven b'shal shuvas yudel yalav ayin shom shehevi b'shal shuvas imreish b'shal tru l'ches labram gam cholko atzlach. They also disagree with the tzlach. So you have a big question over here, Bekitz and Imritz, whether you have to double the shiurim or not. Right now, he gave a long list of all those that say that the tzlach is basically what you call extrapolating that it's double, but it doesn't work that way. There are those that hold, like the tzach, it's brought down b'shem Tashbatz u'b'seif ha'manig kosu katzlach v'gam agro hiskim l'divrei atzlach v'oidayin shal shuv stam soifish sherech b'zeh v'al kaponim, even the Chassam Sofer says hiskim l'dina the shiravius humayim hanoiflim megimul beitzim, just like the tzlach, that you double the shiurim. V'chein kosu b'shals shuvas maram shik u'b'shals shuvas hagraz v'gam ha'chazanish hevi shaslach v'Chassam Sofer kovel cho Yisrael, that the Chazanish writes that the Slach and the Chassam Sofer were keveya for Klal Yisrael l'shaya b'midas ha'goydel mikim sha'beitzim iskatnu, because the beitzim iskatnu. Therefore, because the goydel is like a double, it's a thicker finger. V'iskim shitos and gam came b'sim sivkotten v'gam b'shal shuv sigrus moish because of shidus k'divrat Slach v'Chassam Sofer. The revius, what is the revius? Humayim hanoiflim begim beitzim. 3 eggs. So you have over here 2 sides to the story. One saying the beitzim and a half, medactic, okay, very nice. And saying that it's tzlach, it's unheard of that you should have that. And they give their eyes with swallowing and everything. Then you have those that say that the tzlach is right. And you have the gedolei poskim, like the Chazanish, even though the Be'er Halacha says not, which is the Mishnah Berurah, but at the end of the day, this is how it comes out. Those that hold that the tzlach is wrong are only petut fe'imila. They're extrapolating ve'ein royal avim lebeis medrash. Don't even bring them into Beis Medrash. That's how strong the Chazanish was for the tzlach. Okay. Okay, but at the end of the day, he brings down over here. Reb Chaim no toma ala chazanish shedoche divrei god lador hagoyin shal shuv bal shuv v'sogol of daltze beis medrash v'chosdu shlo yehaven kovid de'inyan. At the end of the day, it's not a simple thing. So therefore, how do we come out with this thing? Well, we try to be machmer on it, but we're not yet finished with it. But we have 2 sides to the story. Okay, he continues in saying other shittas like that. So therefore, we have 2 ways of going. To double it or not to double it. Ulechein, therefore, lemitzvahs arba koisis shehu midrabanan mikadin efshel lahakol lahamad revis al shiur chaim no shiur 2.9 ounce. Ochein, however, lemaisa yesh lahachmir lahamad revis al at least 4 ounce, or Moshe Feinstein they say 4.2 ounce. Ukshechala rishon the Pesach b'Shabbos. It's not happening this year, but Pesach can come out on Friday night as well. The ozak Kosher rishon u'kois kiddush shel Shabbos shikru min haTorah. Yesh lahamad revis l'chol hapochos al 5.1 ounce, like the Chazanish. That's the Chazanish here. We'll go into this shortly because this is very, very complicated. A lot of different psakim. However, even that, uledas mixes gedoli achroinim yesh lahamed revius al korev l6 ounce. that according to the Chazon Ish, it's not 5.1 ounces. So all those people that make I want the Chazon Ish here, and they go into the silver store and say, okay, this is exactly like the Chazon Ish here, a 5.1 ounce shear. Not so simple. There's some that say that it's 6.2, 6.3 ounces, according to the Chazon Ish. And he says over here, Taka, just this point will bring out that Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky says, Sheyesh le Kabbalah, Sheshir Revius le'inyan d'Rabbanu Karv 4 ounces. That goes with the concept of the fingers. The option is by the midrabanan efshel smer chalbidus beitzim shalonu k'vay revius al pi midizu. So if kimid le'samchinu lakum midas ha'ama ela ad be'erach 20 inches. U'b'gemara paiskim niskel le'inyan dal koises shir revius k'cheshbon etzbayim berum etzbayim v'chetzi chomish v'etzba. That l'mais at the end of the day you go with that etzba. Im came established al kaponim lahatim shir revius b'drabon al kaponim gam shir amad rabon. You have to have it also with the shir of the amad rabbanon. Va'af sheyesh mokim l'tzad the shir amad nikva k'fiyah oimer v'ameshuy lo and v'emuch shetzorach lahatim k'midas ha'beitza. You don't have to go according to the beitza. And lismach al chiddush zeh shechen yesh lahachma afil in drabon lahatim revius k'shir amad b'shrein bar le'inyan drabon kantvarv. And therefore you can go ahead and be makel up to 4 ounces, not the Chaim no 2.9. The Kradom Bezach Chazon Ish, and the Chazon Ish talks about it, he says. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's not so simple with Reb Chaim no. So there are, when people do like Reb Chaim no, yesh al mi lismoich. Meaning, if let's say you're a diabetic, we're not going to talk about diabetic 2, but you're a diabetic 1. So it's something that you have to be very, very, very careful. Then you can go with it. Otherwise, if at all possible, go to the Moshe Feinstein Shiur of 4.2 because of this question that he has over here. That's what he says. If the amma is 20.5 inches, meaning what's the amma? An amma is 6 times 4. Each amma is a tefach. What is a tefach? A tefach, according to means Chazon Ish, is 4 inches, right? So 6 tvachim in an amma, right? So it's 6 times 4, you would say 24 inches. That's what you would say. But that's the share of the Chazon Ish. But if you go a little bit less, it has to do with a lot of different halachos. It's going to come out, he says over here, to 20.5 inches. Because he says over here something very interesting. He says that Rav Shmuel said, "Sheshama meis meron hagoyin raban kotla zatzal she'ef shalahokol legabe d'rabbanan lahamed amma al be'erich 20 inches." The least you can go is 20 inches. How much will it be an etzba of a goydel? He says, according to this cheshbon, kamoi 0.8, it's very, very exact, 0.854 inches. If you multiply that inch, because we said etzbayim al etzbayim, and how you work it out, so and then you have beroim chatzi etzba of a chomish etzba, so you have 2 times. This is the square. So if you take your calculator out and you times it and you say 2 times 0.854 times 2.854, times 2.7.854, it comes out to 6.73 cubic inches.
Is that what you got?
I lost the last number. I'm just looking at it. 2.854.
And now he says, so it's going to come out over here 6.73 cubic inches. You want to go with that tzba'ayim? Not with the beitzim here. Just going with that tzba'ayim. Right? Now, he comes here, this is, I don't know if it's halacha Moshe Sinai, but he says, v'chol ounce, if you take every ounce, 1.804 inches, cubic inches. Imkain, if you go ahead and you have 6.73, nimsa haravius 3.74 ounces shukar the 4 inches. It's going to come out 3.7. He says it's all close to 4 inches. I guess he rounds it off from 3.7. You know he's going to go ahead and measure with that way ounces. You have a measuring cup, so therefore he goes to 4 inches. And therefore he says it's best to do it in that fashion, if you have to do it. But Lamaisa, he comes out that when it comes to this is all if you makel, and you say that the beitzim didn't get smaller. However, if you machma min ha-Torah, you got to go even higher. In Kvarvana shedas hatzlach v'aripoisim diskatnu ha-beitzim kemat lemechzel chen sorg l'shai b'shir. You have to use the shear of that spine, spine, bro, spine, v'chetzikon mishatzpo, or sheishlik fol midois ha-beitza, k'ra-poiskim de midorais chashim de v'atzlach, v'ayim be'aloch, shekos the b'kiddush l'al-shabbos she'ikru ben ha-Torah yishlach m'katzlach. Even the be'aloch holds, not l'gabet dal koises, that since it's min ha-Torah, you have to be machmal like the tzlach. Okay. Anyway, we go weiter on this. We don't have the time now, but it comes out that if you want to have the proper shear, you should at least have the minimum Rav Moshe Feinstein shear of 4.2, and more preferably a shear of the Chazon Ish of 5.1. The 6 is something that goes even higher, and it's a whole different ball of wax that we have to go into. But this is how we come out on the shiurim. And as I mentioned many a time, you have to drink at least roiv of kos. And a lot of people take these large decanters that are 7, 8, 9 ounces, and they just take a sip because they're going to drink 7, 8, 9 ounces, 4 cups. No mitzvah to do that. Get a kos that's a good shear, a proper shear, and be the roiv revius of that, a roiv kos of that, rather than getting a big kos and not drinking roiv revius. Even though you can say there are those shitas who hold, as long as you drink roiv revius, it's good enough, but it's better to have a roiv kos. We'll continue Metchem tomorrow. The fifth chibur am Torah mitzvah shenam adonai Kovetz Halachos yagdil Torah v'yadir.